I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts about the water maker, because I'm about to make a little video about the water maker.
Well, I have some thoughts. I really like having a water maker and knowing that I've got really clean, fresh, nice tasty water, especially being in Indonesia where it's pretty common to get little bugs from water, and so knowing that we can fill up our drink bottles and take some water when we go ashore and do things is just real peace of mind, and it's really nice. Good to have.
I'm glad.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Glad you're getting
Thanks for putting one in.
Enjoyment. It's my pleasure. It's good to see it being used. As many of you know, Elya and I have spent months preparing all the stars for our crossing to Indonesia.
No one can know.
Here we are, Indonesia! And with every adventure comes challenge, as you'll see in this episode, filled with navigation horrors, the size of the thing, snagged anchors, it was wrapped around in 2 bommies, and even an almost naked chef guest appearance. C'est très très délicieux. And strap in, folks, for a ripper episode, and hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's little video is about a review of the water maker. Just wanted to run you through a quick appraisal of the SeaWater Pro single membrane system that we have on board. It's been about a year now, and we are in Indonesia where we're using it very regularly. It's becoming very useful. One of the first things I'll mention is we run this water maker off a generator. So ideally we'd be able to run it off our house batteries, and we do have spec'd up house batteries now with 600 amp hours of lithium. We would very easily be able to run the water maker, especially in peak parts of the day when there's peak power production. So at the moment we have to go through the rigmarole of pulling out the generator. We may just keep doing that, but if it came to the point where we wanted to use the boat a lot more or continue sailing further, then perhaps we look at getting a inverter that's big enough to start and maintain the water maker. The only other big thing that I've noticed is a little bit of a maintenance issue is these pre-filters that filter the water before it goes through the actual ceramic membrane, which is what takes the salt out of the water. These filters just remove the algae and sediment from the water. And you can see here, this one, I've just pulled that out of the water maker, and it has, discoloured, and it smells a bit egg gas smell. Now that's just less than a week ago that we used the water maker, and it's just because the seawater here is tropical and it goes off a lot quicker. It's pretty hard to avoid it. You've either got to remove the filters every use and just have them sitting empty, or you've got to be prepared to replace a few filters. Like those filters have probably been in there for 2-3 months now in the tropics, and it's time to replace it with a nice fresh one today. So we do have a few spares on board, and we've got to make sure we've always got carry enough. I have at times scrubbed these and washed them, which has sort of kept them going a bit longer, but because that's a bit smelly and a bit dark, I think I'm going to replace that today. I'm going to take you below and show you the system, and then we'll fire it up, and then we'll just have a quick review of how I've been enjoying it. Just filled this up with fresh seawater. Nip that up. Will be okay. So these are our pre-filters. This is where the raw seawater comes up, goes through the 20 micron, then through a 5, and then it goes up through into the compressor, which pumps the water at high pressure through here. This filter here is just to take out any chlorine or sediments in the actual fresh water before it goes back through the system when we flush it. But that carbon filter is good for about a year at least. Yeah, and now we can see a much cleaner new filter in there, and that one doesn't look too bad, but I'm going to take that off and give it a quick clean anyway, just to make sure it's not foul smelling. There's our control panel up there. Pretty self-explanatory. Now I know I said I wouldn't go on about how the water maker works, but just quickly to recap. This is our main pressure gauge, which measures how much pressure is coming from the main pump. This is the pressure release valve, which is how we adjust the pressure coming from the main pump. Our flow rate meter tells us exactly how many litres per hour it's making, typically 80, and this is our total dissolved solids monitor, which tells me how pure the water is. We do have our test water line there, I always run the system for 10 minutes just to flush out any water and check the water tastes okay before we go diverting it into the tank, that sea with that tap there. And yeah, the high pressure pump is there. It looks like the day it was new. Yeah, another thing we've been maintaining occasionally is this is our lift pump, which sucks the salt water from the sea cock down below, pre-filters it through this raw sea strainer, and then pumps it up to the other filters. Now that stainless steel coarse filter does get algaed up if I leave it too long, so sometimes I've got to crack that and clean it out. There's a few bits of seaweed in there occasionally, but at the moment that's still pretty clean from last use. And then we'll be able to fire it up. Now I'm not going to go on about how this started and how to run this water maker, because any of you who've watched the video where we installed the water maker will have seen all that already. So yeah, if you haven't, go back and check out the episode. It was about a year ago and the system's been running pretty much trouble-free ever since. Still the original membrane. We've replaced the pre-filters I think twice in total. And also, because it's so freaking hot here in Indonesia, we make a bit extra in jerry cans for just having showers in the cockpit, things like that. So I'll go get the generator going and then we'll come down and switch everything on. Okay, so first things first, we open up the test valve. We turn on the lift pump. That'll tell us the lift pump pressure there. Make sure that's open fully. We switch on the main pressure pump. Price we pay for running the water maker. You can hear that in the background. It's fairly noisy, which makes it uncomfortable, but you know, that's the trade-off. So I'm going to run that now for a few hours and then we'll talk about how we feel about the water maker. Okay guys, so just briefly a recap of our review of the water maker. Some of the pros being that it obviously keeps us free of being tied to land water points and having to pull into marinas. We can make water wherever we are, and it gives you a fair bit of freedom. Being able to shower and rinse are also real pluses, because prior to having a water maker and still having a fairly small water tank, about 200 litre tank, you're very limited in what you could use water for, so mainly just cooking and washing dishes and drinking of course. So we've got surplus water, we can rinse things, wash things and get our hair less salty. The downsides, for me, it's setting up the generator each time is a real hassle. So in an ideal world, maybe we probably would have gone with an inverter. A big enough inverter to run it would be a 3000 watt inverter, and they're not cheap. They're about $3,000 I think, $3,500. So it's a big bit of kit. So setting up the generator is a bit of a hassle because it's down in here in this lazarette, in this stowage compartment, and we have a lot of other things in there like spinnaker and ropes and dive gear. So every time we go in to make water, I've got to pull all that out, pull out the generator, set it up. The access is difficult. You know, I've got to climb in there and it's not easy. And the other downside is that it requires regular flushing, especially in the tropics where it's really hot. So the system needs to be flushed every few days at least, and that keeps the filters from going all mouldy. So yeah, that uses a bit of water, because we've only got a small tank, then we are using a couple of litres a day doing that. But apart from that, it's been a very handy bit of kit, and it's been reliable. I haven't had any breakdowns or any components that have given me trouble. There's just the, as I mentioned earlier, replacing the pre-filters sooner in the tropics because things go off so much quicker. But really happy with the SeaWater Pro single membrane system, and I hope you guys enjoy these videos and keep watching. See you later.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
It's pancake time.
It could be pancake time. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Wow. They're already mix.
Oh, there's mix.
Yeah.
What else are you doing?
I am trying to moth-proof our pantry.
Moth-proof?
I've noticed a moth. And we have a lot of unsealed packages. And I'm trying to decide whether jars or clipped plastic are more moth-proof. Haven't landed yet on which I think is more, but probably certain jars are good.
I think so. I agree. Cool. Hey, thanks for watching, folks.
So you woke up pretty stressed this morning?
Yeah, we got a text through the night saying that our bags were found and lost and found. And join us for the next episode where we are reunited with all the stars.
Well, there's a lot of angles in a boat.
A lot of angles.
A lot of angles. And they're all mouldy.
And they're all mouldy. All angles are mouldy on this boat.